Hello and welcome back to another video of El Criptonauta. Today I'm going to introduce the Fibotnacci, which is basically is an indicator created under the rules I follow for my trading. So that indicator has been made by Bas, who is a student of our technical analysis courses, that he has coded the strategy I use and I explain in the courses into an indicator. That indicator has a lot of features, which are, first of all, normal and hidden signal divergence. So you are able to see all kind of divergence in all assets and all timeframes that you choose. Then you also have oversold and overbought signals and divergence filters. You will see later how that works, but I'm introducing step-by-step different features of it. Then you also have automatic market maker fib levels, automatic target profit and stop loss levels, oversold and overbought colored RSI levels, programmable alerts, and pivot points. Okay, so in order to access to the indicator, you have to enter to the free Discord server of the Criptonauta. You can access to the Discord clicking on the link below that you have on the description of the YouTube video. Then you have to go to product channels and find the Fibonacci indicator and follow the steps indicated. Okay. If you have any question, you can send me a private message on the Discord and I will contact you in order to help you to find the path. Okay, so that said, let's go into the Fibonacci tools to see how it works. Okay, first of all, you have a normal chart. This is a standard TradingView chart. So once you access to the Fibonacci tool, you will have to install into the layout. So to do that, you have to go to indicators. You have to go to invite only scripts, and you will have to install two different indicators that comes with the package. The first indicator is the Fibonacci, which is that one. So you only have to click and you see how that is get installed. And then with the same package, you can also access to RSI pivot points. You click here and you see that you have an RSI. Sorry, because I had this previous on my chart. Okay, so those are the indicators that you are accessing. So first of all, and before begin to explain how it works, let's tweak some parameters of TradingView. So some of you will have that activated, the indicator name level, the indicator last value. So I'm only showing this in order to show you how to delete this if you don't want to see. Okay, so you only have to go to chart settings, scales, and uncheck that boxes. I normally have this unchecked because I don't want to see so much information, but if you want, you can have it. Okay, whatever is best for you. The other thing is TradingView, if you are in automatic scale, even if it's logarithmic or not or whatever, but if you are in automatic, what TradingView does is to try to compress the chart, included all the points of the indicator. Okay, that sometimes can be a bit messy. So it's better for you if you go to settings, that will, and scale price chart only. That way, TradingView only scale based on the price and not on the indicator. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, once you have done this, we can go to see the parameters of the indicator and the RSI itself. Okay, let's begin with the RSI because it's the easy one. So you can go to the wheel settings, and if you don't want to see that crosses, you can go to input and uncheck show RSI pivot points. Those crosses are the pivot points. So sometimes you don't want to see them, so you only have to go here and uncheck them. Okay. Of course, as any RSI, you can modify here the overbought and the oversold signal, and you will have different levels of it. Imagine that you move this 60, Okay. The cool thing about this RSI is that you can see graphically with the color when you are in overbought or oversold levels. Okay. So, and you see this modifying that parameters. Then, of course, you can modify the style, the colors, and all that kind of things, even the line of the overbought and oversold, but it's up to you. So that's pretty easy. I will not go further with this. Okay, let's move to the Fibonacci tool. What do you see here? So first of all, you have to understand how that works. That tools works for trading. Imagine that you are doing day trading and so on, but also works to understand how the asset moves. That's why you see so much levels. What you are looking here is, of course, the bear divergence signals, the bull divergence signals, and you can also see the hidden bear and hidden bull, and you will see later on when we activate them. But you see, if you change the time frame, automatically you will see how the divergences are recalculated. Okay? And then the other thing that you see, that points, those are the Fibonacci levels from the 1 to the 4th level of each one of those divergences, the bull divergence and the bear divergence. All the divergence, all the points that you see here are the levels. How that levels works? Well, in every level, you will see always, let's gonna put the line just to make it easy to understand. I'm gonna grab, for example, that one. So what do you see here? You see the golden pocket level, which are the green and yellow lines. And then you have the first Fibonacci level, which this itself creates a box, because we always work with boxes. Okay, so you have the top and the bottom level of the box. Okay, something like this. That would be the box. And in example, in that previous one, that will be the box, that would be the box, sorry, and so on and so forth. So you have 4 levels for every divergence. Okay, that's the first step to understand how the tool works. So looking at that, if you look at the asset itself, you can see how the asset moves every time it has a divergence. For example, when we are in a bull run or in a bull trend and you have a bear divergence, normally you go to the golden pocket levels. Okay, so that's why we use this to understand the asset. Okay, for that has been an example. Okay, aside of that, you have the levels of the target profit levels, for example, but you also have the stop loss levels, which are that ones. The red levels are the stop loss levels. It means that, let's put, for example, stop loss, something like this. It means that if the asset goes, and now, for example, we would be shorting, okay? But in that case, if you enter short, those are the target levels, okay? But if the asset goes up, that will be the stop loss box, okay? Aside of this, you will see that you have target profit levels, but I will enter to this later, okay? So first of all, you have understand how you have to understand what the indicator is showing to you. Then the other thing that you will see are those lines. Those are the points where the bear divergence, in that case, are calculated. Okay, so you see this is the bear divergence, and so on and so forth. And for example, for the bull divergence, you have this. Okay, this is how the divergences are calculated. So you can check and you can learn as well how to see the divergence if you don't know how. Okay, that's why we do it that way. Okay. So now you also have that crosses, which are the pivot points, same as you had in the RSI. Okay, remember, all those parameters are totally configurable. So then we will hide some of them. Okay, so okay, That's how that is what the indicator showed to us. So let's see how to configure it. Okay, so first of all, let me delete what I've done. And those are the configuration parameters. You have the inputs and the style. This style, I will go very fast with this. The style is just to change the color or the kind of line or whatever you are seeing on the screen. Okay, you can also change the color of the very divergent, the bullish, the hidden, and so on. And also the ticker that is used for that. Okay, and then you see levels and lines. If you hide lines, you see that lines are hidden. Okay, you will hide that lines. And if you hide labels, once you have the target profit levels, those will be hidden. I will show you later this. Those two parameters I will enter on them later. For the inputs, first of all, I will uncheck all of it just to begin from scratch. Okay, and the first thing let's gonna do is to hide the pivot points. I don't use them, but some people use. That's why the indicator has it as an option. So the way to do it is to uncheck that box. Okay, so let's begin. You have here the levels. I will not uncheck this because we don't need it. So we will begin with the first information that we have here. So first of all, let's see what we want to see on the chart. Do we want to see all the divergence and the hidden divergence, or we only want to see the normal divergence? So those are the normal divergence. So if we calculate the very divergence, we will see only the very divergence. If we press on the bullish divergence, we will see the bearish and the bullish. Okay? And if we click on the hidden bearish, we will add the hidden bearish divergence and the hidden bullish divergence. So in that chart, you are seeing all the kind of divergence that are formed on that chart on 4 hours. So if we change to 12 hours, automatically you will see the divergence of that time frame, and so on and so forth when you change the time frame. Okay? So normally I only use the hidden divergence on the big time frames, but it's up to you how to use that. So that's why the good thing about this is to look at the big picture and see how that every kind of divergence work particularly on that asset, because depending on the asset, the divergence works on one way or another way. Not another way, but on one level or other level. Okay? But as you can see, for example, in 3 days, those give us very good signals on how the asset moves. Okay? So let's gonna move on. So we have this. Let's uncheck the hidden divergence, for example, and then let's gonna see what does it mean. So number of bars for divergence calculation. It means the separation between the pivot points in order to calculate the divergence. It means the number of bars that you use for the calculation. So in a normal situation, I tend to use from 10 to 15 as a number for divergence calculations, but it's up to you. Okay, so you can modify, and you will see that if you modify, you will see how some divergence appears or disappears, depend. Okay, you see? That's because if you put 10, that divergence is not calculated. Okay, because you have more than 10 bars from here to here. Okay, let's put 15, which is what I use. Okay, once we have this, let's move. So one thing is to see the divergence itself, and the other thing is to calculate the Fibonacci levels based on the divergence. So for example, let's see the Fibonacci levels of the various divergence, the normal one. So you see, now you see the targets that I showed you before of the bear divergence. Let's look at that one because it's easy. And as you as I said before, you can see the first level, second level, third level, fourth level of the divergence and the stop loss, which is here. Okay? And that's what you are looking when you press that button. Okay? So that would be the bearish divergence. You can put show bullish divergence as well. So you will see the levels of the bullish divergence as well. And then you have the hidden bearish and the hidden bullish. But if you press here, you will see that you don't see anything. Why? Because you are not calculated them. So you have to go here and press calculate in order to see all the other calculations. Okay? So that's the thing. So sometimes you have to hide some because it's too much information. Okay? Okay. Let's gonna left only the bearish and the bullish, which are the more important ones. And then let me delete this. And then you have an important box, which is show target levels. This, what is telling to you is the target levels in order to trade that asset. So for example, we don't wait until the end of the box, but we target profit before of the box, okay? Because is where the liquidity is, because you don't know if the asset will arrive at the end of the box or not. So we tend to move before the asset is finishing the liquidity, okay? So that's the show target levels. And remember this style when I told you, about the labels. So if you uncheck the labels, you won't see the number here. And then, aside of the target levels, you can say, okay, I don't want to see all the divergence. I only want to see the last divergence that is being formed. So then what you can do is to uncheck the divergence Fibonacci's and go here and say, okay, show only last divergence. Which one? In that case, the last divergence is a bear divergence. So we come here and say bear divergence. So that's the last one that will show to you. If you go to other time frames, for example, let's look at something that we had the bear divergence, bull divergence. Imagine that you say, okay, I want to see that bull divergence because it's the one that I'm trading, for example. Then you go here and go and say, okay, I want to see the bull divergence, and you see the bull divergence. So in example, that bull divergence achieved the first level, perfect, you see here. Okay, so in that case, we would get out where? In the green line, which is the target profit level. Okay, now where it can go? Well, we can go, if we pass the first, then we can go to the second, where we will be out in the second level, here in the target profit, in the green line. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, and that's the idea. Let's look more features. So if you are using this the only last divergence, if you're using this and you go to style and you press lines, uncheck the box, you will see that this disappears, okay? So you have to think about that. So you have to have this checked. Okay, so that's the feature of the bear divergence and the Fibonacci levels. Then you have another feature, which is the alerts. If you want to set alerts, which I will explain later, you have to have connected the alert that you want to trigger. I will show you this later, so I will move forward. I will move forward with this, and then let's come back to that. So then you have use OB and OS signals for triggering. Those are the overbought and oversold signals. Do you see that some divergence has disappeared? Look, you see? And that's why you can configure the divergence based on a filter of overbought and oversold. It means, what does it mean? You can configure here the RSI, the source. I used to have it close. The length of the RSI, which is 14. The more usual and the normal that I use is 14 as well. And then you have the overbought and oversold parameters. If you have this connected, or this box checked, you will only see the bull and the bear divergence based on that parameters. So you won't see any bear divergent over 70, and you won't see any bull divergent under 30. Okay, so if we move this, look, let's move this over, let's put a number, you see? This is because that divergence is created on that levels. This is useful in order to filter the divergence. Maybe you are day trading. When you are day trading on a very low time frames, sometimes you don't want to see all the divergence on the way, but only the ones that are very oversold, for example. Okay, so that's why we use that feature. If you don't want to use that feature, the only thing that you have to do is uncheck that box, and you will see all the divergence that are formed. Okay, this is the pivot points that we have been talking before, you know that. And then you have the show overbought and oversold signals. Those are the overbought and oversold signals without uncheck the box. But if you check the box, this box, you will see the oversold and overbought signals based on that parameters. Same situation, okay? You see? And that's how it works. And nothing else. As far as configuration things, that's all. You can do your parameters and save as default your own parameters if you want. And that's all. Let's move to the alerts. Honestly, with the Fibonacci, you can have a lot of alerts, but it will depend on your TradingView subscription. So if you are in a low TradingView subscription, you won't have too much alerts to do. That's why we created the other indicator that you can find on the Discord channel in the Discord of the Criptonauta, which is another indicator in order to have a lot of signals. But you can have alerts also with Fibonacci. So imagine that you want to trigger alerts on bull divergence. So you go to alerts bullish divergence. First of all, you have to check the boxes that you want. Imagine alerts on bearish divergence, bullish divergence. You click OK and you go to the alerts. Go to the alert, choose the Fibonacci indicator, and then here you can choose if you want to trigger the alert on the bearish divergence, the bullish divergence, or the hidden bearish or the hidden bullish. But remember to have always the box of the alerts triggered, checked on the indicator. Okay, if you don't have the box checked, that will not work. But let's see. Imagine that we want to have an alert on the bullish divergence. Okay, we click here. And then you can choose different kind of triggers. The best way to do that is once per bar close, because the divergence is confirmed when the bar is closed. Okay, but you can also have once per bar or whatever you want. Then you have the normal setups of the alerts and the message that you want to put. If you don't put anything, the message will be, in that case, BTC USDT, bullish divergence detected. Okay. And that's how to configure the alerts with the indicator. And that's all. You have a lot of things to learn with it. I've learned a lot with that indicator because it helps me pretty fast to see all the divergence. And honestly, it tends to work pretty well. You will see that when you configure the Fibonacci tool, you will learn a lot how the divergence affect to the market. Nothing else. If you have any question, you can ask on the general channel of the Discord, and I will try to answer as fast as possible. Thank you very much and see you in the next video. Bye.